Hey guys, welcome to this installation video. Here I'm going to show you how the bike looks like with our most complete kit, which is the electronic power pedal kit version 3.0. Here we see the new version 3.0 left side bracket. It's a one single part and it's much stronger here on the side stand fixing point. We also have, these are the Mesic 89mm cranks, our pedals. Here you can see the freewheel, the split sprocket, and we also have the 3-position switch for our electronic pedal assist kit. So here I'm going to show you how to install each one of these kits. These are the parts and tools that you need to install your new power pedal kit. So we have right side bracket, the new version 3.0 left side bracket, which is a one single part, which is much stronger at the side stand fixing point. Our new version 3.0 spindle, which has flat surfaces at a 90-degree angle, right hand nut, washer, collar, washer, left side nut. These are the Mesic cranks, which I like most because they're stronger and give you good ground clearance. Type 1 pedals, our freewheel hub with the freewheel chain, 34 link chain, and the split sprocket. And also we have a torque wrench, which is not necessary but I recommend it, an adapter, 6mm hex wrench or bit, 5mm hex wrench, 3mm hex wrench, 2.5mm hex wrench, spanner wrench, screwdriver, ratchet, 14mm socket wrench, adapter, and bit holder. To disassemble the split sprocket, please take your 3mm Allen wrench, remove the screws on both sides, also this prisoner or set screw. Take it out until it doesn't touch the inner part of the split sprocket. Then remove the other screw. Okay, we're ready to go. Okay, so first you'll want to set loose the bolts that hold your left side bracket. Then you can use your power tool to remove the screws. Okay. Afterwards, here's the side stand position sensor. You'll want to screw it off. Actually, I don't have it installed on my SUR-RON because sometimes it will cut the power off when it gets wet, so I removed it. But just in case you wanna still keep it on your bike, you'll just want to screw it off. Okay, first step done. Then repeat on the other side. Set loose the bolts. Now let's disassemble the other side. Okay, so now let's continue with what's perhaps the trickiest part to disassemble. Then you take the stand and put it to the down position. Okay, just like this. Then you take a screwdriver from this point to this point so that you can do some lever, and you start pulling the spring off. Now it's off. So now we have to remove the side stand from the side bracket and this pin also, because we need to assemble it on your new KANIWABA pedal kit. So to remove the side stand, it uses a 12mm socket wrench, or you can use this spanner wrench also. Right. Now to remove the screw, you use a 6mm bit. Remember to keep the screw. When you take the side stand off, there's also a flat washer here that you want to keep also. So now we have to remove your side stand. And finally, we need to remove this pin for the spring from the side bracket. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we take our left side bracket, our new part, and get the spring pin, spring holding pin, and put it into this thread of the left side bracket. So we can start by hand. And then we can finish with this spanner wrench. Just make sure it's down to the end and tight. Here's our first step. Now that we have installed the side stand screw, we put it at a 90-degree angle, get the spring, put the short hook on the pin that's on the left bracket, and then use our screwdriver to do some lever to get this hook on the side stand pin. So we just do like this, a small lever, and that's it. We now have our side stand installed onto the left bracket. Now we're going to install the left side bracket. Make sure if you're going to install the side stand sensor that you reroute this cable so you can have a cable long enough. I don't recommend installing this sensor because sometimes when it gets wet it starts to cut the power off, so I don't like it. Okay, first thing, we get the left side bracket, put it onto the frame, use one screw to hold it. Then we get the second screw and put blue Loctite 242 on it, like this, not too much on the tip. Then you start tightening with your hand. Then you get again the first screw, put blue Loctite, and start tightening it down. I like to start the thread with my hands so I won't damage the thread because this is steel and the frame's aluminum. And then I like to use my power tool. We'll fix the torque later. Okay, now we have our left side bracket installed. Now we're going to fix the induction sensor. Okay, now you get one tie wrap. Start it. Put the side stand down. Make sure that this nut, it's in the middle of the two guides. Then put one tie wrap in. Make sure it goes into the guide, to the first guide. Tighten it down. Then you take the second one. Pass it through here. Make sure it's in front of the nut. Okay. Flush the sensor against the side stand and tighten the tie wraps. Now lift the side stand, tighten the tie wraps. 1 and 2. Okay. And now we cut the excess of the second one. And that's it. We have our sensor there, and it flushes against the side stand, so now it'll work. And we have the left bracket completely installed. Now take the spindle, make sure the short side after the flat spot, it's on the right side, the long part, it's the left side, and put it into the left side bracket until they're more or less. Now let's put the left crank and pedal on. Now take your left crank, make sure it's the one that's flat, it doesn't have any dent. Just put it on the spindle, put the washer on, and put the left side nut on. It's a left hand threaded nut, so just put on some Loctite. This is important so it won't become loose afterwards. Some people have lost their left nuts because they get loose. Then you get your ratchet. Remember, it's a left hand threaded nut, so it will tighten counterclockwise. Okay, now the pedal. These pedals have a letter here, it says L. So this one goes on the left side crank and it tightens counterclockwise. Then we can just finish with the 6mm hex wrench from the back. And we tighten it. Okay, now we have our left cranks and pedals installed. Okay, now the final touch, it's to tighten properly the bolts on the left bracket. So please set your torque wrench to 25 Newton meter or 220 inch-pound. Okay, so we start tightening. There it clicked. Now the other one. Perfect. We're all set with this left side bracket. To install the split sprocket, you'll need to remove this plastic guard. It has one screw here and two screws here on this side. You can see one here and then the other one up here. It's a little bit annoying because the space is tight. So to take this plastic guard out, you need to twist it, move it in several directions. First thing, yeah, we need to push here and then you can take it out. To install the split sprocket with this part, the one that doesn't have the prisoner or set screw, flush it against the jackshaft. Then take the other part, flush it against the jackshaft also, and have them match together. Then take the screw and your power tool and try to tighten them together. Okay, now we have one side. Now turn the wheel and let's tighten down the other side. Take the screw, power tool, if it doesn't match, you need to loosen this side a little bit. Now tighten on this side also. You need to close the gaps. Now we tighten by hand to close the gaps between both halves. It doesn't need to be totally closed, but it's good to have them as close together as possible. Now let's see how the gap is on the other side. A little bit. The gap is almost gone. I think that's okay. More than okay. And now we tighten the set screw or prisoner screw. One last torque. Okay, and we are done installing the split screw. The split sprocket, sorry. Okay, so put one collar in, flush it against the bearing. Take a pen or a marker and do some marks in front of the middle of the flat spots. This will help us, guide us when we are going to align the freewheel. Then put the freewheel in. Please install it with the screws facing the right side. Why? Because it's a safety feature. If for whatever reason the freewheel locks, it will just unscrew from the hub. If you install it on the other side, if the freewheel locks, your pedals are going to be spinning like crazy. So please install it on this direction. Put the freewheel in, put the other collar in. Now we're going to install the chain. Take your chain, look for the master link. Here it is. Take a look at the pin. Now take the plier and push one tip of the pin against the chain pin. Take it off. Take the link off. Take the master link off. Now we have an open chain. Now put it over the split sprocket. Like this. You can also put it over the freewheel. That. And then you just spin the wheel with your hand until the chain end appears on the other side. Take the chain and let's put it here so it's a little bit easier. Get it together. Take the master link. Oh, sorry, I dropped it. Take the master link to close the chain. If the chain is too tight and you're not able to close it, then what you'll need to do is loosen both screws of the left side bracket, put the chain over the freewheel, and then move the bracket upwards and put the screws back on again. Then we're going to install the pin. Make sure the open side of the pin is facing downwards, because we need to install it into the open side of the pin opposite to the movement direction. Okay, now we have collar, freewheel, chain on, and the other collar. Now we're going to put the right bracket on. Okay, then you get screws, put on some Loctite, not too much, so we can tighten down this bracket. Okay, one screw. Then we have the second one, also put on some Loctite, put the screw on. Okay, use your power tool, tighten, Tighten. Okay. Now we need to center the spindle so we can align the chain properly. So we need to have this tip a little bit more outwards. So I was hitting it with a rubber mallet like this one. Now we take the crank, install it on, make sure it's 180 degrees from the other crank, put the washer on, take the right nut, again put on some Loctite, you don't want to lose these nuts. Tighten it down. Okay. Now we need to check the gap on both cranks. Here it's a little bit too much, and here it's too tight. So again, we take the rubber mallet or your hand or something that you want to use. I think that gap there is okay. Gap here is okay. So now what we want to do is we want to flush the collars against the bearings and tighten them down. This will stop the spindle from moving in this direction. Okay, so take this collar and tighten it down. Now the other one. Okay. Now this will guarantee that the spindle will move in the actual direction. Now we want to align the chain. So first, take the hub, you can move it with your hand, and move the wheel forward. Try to spin, okay, the spindle so you can see both flat spots, and try to put both screws aligned with the flat spots. Then you can just start moving the wheel with your hand and visually align the freewheel with the split sprocket, and then you can just move it with your hand until you feel it can easily move and no grinding noises will appear. There, it sounds good. Try. Okay. Then you can just tighten one screw down. Here I can see the mark I did previously. Okay, now it's sitting against the flat spot. I move the wheel forwards. Sounds good. Backwards. Sounds good. I turn on the bike. I accelerate softly. Sounds good. I'm going full speed. Sounds good. Our chain is aligned. I move the wheel backwards. Sounds good. Okay, now I'm confident it's well aligned. I tighten the other screw down. Make sure it's against the flat spot. Okay, one. Do not over tighten these screws. Okay, the chain is aligned and we have everything ready to go. We just need to make sure we have the correct torque setting on the screws. Remember, 25 Newton meter or 220 pound-inch. Okay, one to go. And we are finished. Our installation is complete. You're ready to go.